Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art and culture, and it's Billboard Breakdown. So folks, did you have enough of me talking about Big Sean when the review dropped last night? Well, not over, because to replace Migos and as a lead-in to the expected chaos that will come with the Grammys, Big Sean brought in 6 new songs to the Hot 100 in an already busy week. Yet, believe it or not, I'm not actually sure he's the biggest story here, but from some major shifts in our top 10 to a swath of new arrivals peppering the rest of the Hot 100. In other words, let's stop wasting time. Top 10. Now, as you would expect, Shape of You by Ed Sheeran maintains its grip at number 1, rules the radio, sales are strong, and while it's getting edged out on streaming, it actually has YouTube as something of a buffer. Now, this is something that gives it some breathing room over Bad and Bougie by Migos and Lil Uzi Vert at number 2, which rules streaming and is picking up radio, but losses on YouTube and especially in sales block it from getting any higher. Similar case for I Don't Wanna Live Forever by Zayn and Taylor Swift. It might actually have radio traction and it recovered on YouTube, but it lost the top spot on sales, and it's never really been a streaming giant. It'll probably remain stuck at number 3 for the foreseeable future. But this takes us to our first big top 10 story, tying the record for the highest ever return to the Hot 100, Million Reasons by Lady Gaga. Driven by a huge Super Bowl performance which led to absolutely monster sales, and pretty much nothing else to go up to number 4. Now, I don't expect it'll hold there. The radio seems a little reticent to give it spins, and she's got no real streaming presence right now, but still, impressive. Now this pushes back Bad Things by Machine Gun Kelly and Camila Cabello to number 5, but it's bleeding airplay right now, sales crashed hard, and I can see not lasting in streaming either. Now this leads to our second big top 10 arrival, Bounce Back by Big Sean. Tying for his highest ever peak and arguably one of the best songs from the album, I'm actually okay with this riding strong streaming and a bit of airplay traction to get here. And between this and Lady Gaga, the rest of our top 10 looks a lot less steady. Closer by the Chainsmokers featuring Halsey slips to number 7 as it bleeds airplay and sales despite a modest YouTube revival. Scars to You're Beautiful by Alessia Cara actually rises to number 8 because it's got just enough sales to cling onto its slowly dying radio, and then just beat out Don't Wanna Know by Maroon 5 and Kendrick Lamar at number 9 in pretty much the same boat. And rounding out our list, returning to the top 10, Paris by the Chainsmokers, which also got a bit of a YouTube boost to compensate for slipping sales and great airplay. So okay, overall I'm alright with some quality arrive and dominate in our top 10. What about our losers and dropouts? Well, in the latter category, outside of a load of Migos songs, the biggest losers were Blue Ain't Your Color by Keith Urban and X by 21 Savage and Metro Boomin. So yeah, definitely not complaining there. And Migos' losses continued to our losers with Kelly Price with Travis Scott going to 100 and Slippery with Gucci Mane falling hard to 73. Beyond that, what struck me as a pleasant surprise were the sudden reversals of fortune for songs like Play That Song by Train falling hard to 59 and The Weeknd by Brantley Gilbert down to 79. But granted, it wasn't a great week for country overall. Started the Show by Thomas Rhett fell to 58, A Guy with a Girl by Blake Shelton continued down to 64, and Lauren Elena took a hit with Road Less Traveled down to 90. The rest of our losers, unfortunately, look to be decent songs. Love Me Now by John Legend goes to 45, How Far I'll Go by Ali Cravalho continues to 92, and saddest of all, Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran goes to 62, which is just wrong, man. And none of this is helped by our gains in returning entries. Yes, I'm as happy as anyone that Lady Gaga brought back Million Reasons to the top 10, but some credit must also come for bringing back Bad Romance to 50 and reminding us of a time in pop that actually had some alien flavor and punch, because seriously, if you compare these songs to any of our gains, they're outstripping them without question. When the best is That's What I Like by Bruno Mars continuing up fast to 37, you're not exactly in good straits. First we have Moves by Big Sean off the album up to 38. Fine. Followed by the continued surge of Issues by Julia Michaels to 41, where I have no clue why anyone finds the song this stiff remotely interesting. Then there's boring mediocrity like Call on Me by Starley to 72. Apparently the remix is better, but I'm not sure it's coming through here. And Any Old Barstool by Jason Aldean up to 84. Hey, you need something to fill time on country radio. But the real crimes against good taste and arguably humanity comes through in our last 2 gains. The sleazy sellout of Guys My Age by Hey Violet, which remains uncomfortable and gross and not in a good way, and Body Like a Back Road by Sam Hunt up to 21. And let me make this abundantly clear, this got there on sales, not country radio pushing this, which gives me the unpleasant feeling that it either got discounted or there are people who have such low standards of quality that they think this is good. I'm not sure I want to meet any of those people, because if this becomes a hit that sticks around, oh God. But enough of that nonsense. Let's get to our lengthy list of new arrivals, starting off with number 97, Lights by Big Sean featuring Jeremih.
Man, they can't fuck with the light.
They can't stop the shine.
They can't fuck with the light. Hell no, the boys that bright. Even if you take away my life, you can't take the light.
No matter how much they gon' shade you.
So we start off our week with Big Sean, and actually one of the better songs, and this was a promising way to start off the album too. The synth tones had some solemn swell, and while Jeremih isn't a particularly impressive singer, it did take balls to open up a hip-hop record with no drums to place all the attention on the actual bars. And look, he's rhyming words with themselves, but the flow works, and while I don't buy for a second that Big Sean's flows are nearly as inspiring or showcase some sort of inner artistic intent, it feels like a clumsy stab at inspiration that at least has its heart in the right place. Not a great song by any stretch, but it's passable. I do like the melody, so I guess I'll take it. Number 95, Look at Me by XXXTENTACION.
Look at me, yeah, fuck on me, yeah. Look at me, yeah, fuck on me. Look at me, fuck on me, yeah. Look at me, fuck on me, yeah. Hey.
Okay, you're gonna have to follow me on this one. Apparently a few weeks back, Drake previewed a new song on a show with a flow that was similar to this, released by a Florida rapper with a name that looks like something from a bad fan fiction writer. And yet apparently this guy's been cranking out EPs since 2014, blending a cacophony of styles and doing everything from singing to screaming, the sort of lo-fi material you find when you start digging into the underbelly of Bandcamp and you want to get out. In short, I had concerns going in. It really wasn't quite as bad as I was expecting, but still was far from good. The droning production playing against a sleigh bell and a bass so distorted it actively interferes with the vocals and hi-hats, which if you read this guy's bars might actually be a good thing, which mainly focuses on exaggerated caricatures of girls and bragging about killing your parents. And I get the impression with his delivery and style that he's trying to shock me. Well, I hate to say it, but with the pleas of "look at me" on the hook, it's a lot less shocking and a lot more desperate for attention, which might make a certain amount of sense given that he's now in county jail awaiting trial. But yeah, on the quality of this, nope. I'm not showing up to support him on that court date. Number 94, In Case You Didn't Know by Brett Young.
That I could live this life without you, even though I don't tell you all the time. You had my heart a long, long time ago. In case you didn't know.
I think I like Brett Young's breakthrough single Sleep Without You more than the majority of people. People thought it was too slick, too outwardly pop, but there was a certain laid-back charm that felt earnest to me, so I was interested where he'd take things next. And outside of the flagrantly obvious drum machine that runs through the background more than it should, this is generally a pretty pleasant track. The sandy acoustics playing off the decent liquid guitar interplay and Young's harsher rasp, and it was kind of funny. This guy has a very similar vocal timbre to John Mayer, and yet his writing makes him a fair bit more tolerable, if only because it emphasizes a lot of his sincerity. And sure, it can ring as a little simplistic in its love song construction, but the melodies are solid enough and real sincerity goes a long way for me. Not a great song, but it's not bad either. I'll take it. Number 93, Now and Later by Sage the Gemini.
You got 31 flavors, baby. You can get this now or later. Now or later. You can get this now or later. Now or later. It's your choice.
I'm honestly surprised that Sage the Gemini stuck around this long, mostly because from what I've observed, he's continued to get better. His team up with Nick Jonas, Good Things, was a pretty solid tune, and thus while I immediately thought after Gas Pedal I would have no desire to hear anything else from this guy, I was actually curious if this would turn out okay, and this turns out actually pretty decent. But that word doesn't even quite describe how odd this song actually is, with a low, breathy flutes balanced against what sounds like hints of an accordion, fuzzy synth layers, and a pretty decent bass groove against Sage's more melodic, bouncy flow. It's a shame he's not a more expressive rapper. His punchlines are overall pretty mixed, from okay pop culture references to trying to make a exes jealous and a whole load of obvious candy metaphors. Being a little bit better is a shade more enthusiasm. If that was there, it could make the song strong. That, along with the fact that it doesn't really take off as much as it should, it seems to imply a good song, but not really a great one. Still, considering where he started, and considering how catchy it is, I'll take it. Number 89, I Don't by Mariah Carey featuring YG.
You don't understand me, but you love it when I call you Miss Carey. I know you love me, You just don't trust me. You need to understand me. But you never when I couldn't miscarry. Yeah.
The more I thought about this pairing, the more it just began to make simultaneously less and more sense. I guess if YG's playing to old school West Coast vibes, it could work, but Mariah Carey's a cooing diva powerhouse, and pairing her with YG's hardcore gangsta style might lead to an awkward mismatch. And yeah, that seems about right about the case, because the fusion of styles feels clumsy as hell. For one, it's trying to marry the liquid keys, hints of guitar, and a more prominent vocal sample with sharper trap snares, a stuttering 808, and a breathing sound effect that certainly doesn't blend well with Mariah's multi-tracking. And while she remains a great singer, everybody can have a bad live show, people, it happens. I'm not convinced this production is as lush or full as it could be to give her the swell she could really use, and she and YG have little to no chemistry or interplay. As far as the lyrics, well, they fall into a weird spot too. A breakup song told from both sides where it's clear there was a miscommunication about love and trust, and yet YG still thinks that he's got a shot to get in her head by ensuring that she still has his ring. Dude, it's Mariah. She's gonna be fine here. Overall, not a bad song, and given that it's a non-album single from Mariah's show, I don't really expect it to stick around, but that's also firmly where it belongs. Keep it there. Number 87, Beauty and the Beast by Ariana Grande and John Legend.
Small to say the least, both a little scared, neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, let me make this abundantly clear. From the second I heard that Disney was making a live-action version of Beauty and the Beast, one of my all-time favorite animated Disney movies, I had some concerns. Thus far, the trailers have been promising, but a big concern for me was always going to be the music, especially that centerpiece title track. Now, my favorite version of this has never been that overmixed, easy-listening Celine Dion version with Peebo Bryson, but instead, Angela Lansbury's more restrained, less refined original film version. There's a frail elegance to it that really resonated so much more. So when I hear that the new cover is going to have Ariana Grande and John Legend, look, expectations were low. And the new cover, look, it's very much in the vein of the Celine Dion version. And while I think the production is a little better, and you can tell that there's more chemistry between our singers this time around, I do think the drums are a little too close to the front of the mix, and overall the composition feels a little jerkier than previous versions, especially with the funkier bass line that comes through before the final chorus. It feels very much like a stride to modernize the song, and there's no real reason for that. Okay, it's passable, but considering Emma Thompson is stepping up in for Mrs. Potts this time around, I'm gonna wait for that version. Probably sound a lot better. Number 86, Oh Me by Big Sean.
It's gonna take more than that to set it right though. Cause you so fucking out of line. Forever letting them taste what's mine. Taste what's mine. Taste what's mine. You so fucking out of, feel like you.
And speaking of Ariana Grande, we have Big Sean concerned trolling her off of a dark piano fragment, a trap hi-hat, a thicker bass, and a swell of bells that the song never seems to know what to do with. And when I say that, I mean it's definitely playing in the Drake mold where now that this girl, heavily implied to be Ariana, seems to be back within his circle, he is going to guilt trip her into saying that she owes him sex, time, money, because he gave so much to her. No, stop. I'm not listening to this combination of blame game and hotline blank, especially when I already talked about this yesterday in the review. This song blows, easily the worst on the album. Pass. Number 76, Jump Out the Window by Big Sean.
We already wasted too much time, and your time is the only thing I wish was mine. So yeah, I think I'm ready to jump out the window. Straight up, look.
Oh look, the other terrible song from I Decided, which takes a decent dark piano line and plays it off layers of grating vocal samples, some courtesy of Jeremih's uncredited and pitch-shifted additions that are even less recognizable than normal. But as I said in the review, this is Big Sean's version of Shawn Mendes's Treat You Better, which in case you forgot, was branded as the worst hit song of 2016 by me. And you know what, to be fair to Big Sean, his version of this track is marginally better. For one, he's less confrontational, it at least implies the boyfriend did cross a line, and that Big Sean at least has something with this girl in the past. Furthermore, he's actually willing to have her other friends step in and help her out of this bad situation before it all blows up in their faces. A few points for sober second thought, I'll give him that. Of course, we're all expected to take Big Sean's word for this, and his main line in the hook is that he's ready to jump out the window, which, yes, it's metaphorical, and I occasionally like to imagine it as literal, if only because songs like this make me wish they would take a flying leap. But On that subject, number 74, Halfway Off the Balcony by Big Sean.
Thinking cause my job is way more than a salary. Everything around me go like I just practiced alchemy. I realize when it comes to girls that chemistry means way more than anatomy. She mad at me, she been mad at me.
You know, I didn't talk much about this song yesterday in the review, mostly because there isn't a lot to really say. A desaturated and ominous mix that seemed to be punctuated with pianos and faded kazoos, along with a sample of Recycled Air by the Postal Service of all people, it leads to a weird sort of track musing on how time is the most valuable thing to Big Sean right now, but then follows it with a confused blend of interchangeable bragging and an extended pitch shift across the second verse. The idea doesn't really seem to go anywhere, which leads to a song that feels like the definition of album filter. In other words, pass. Number 70, Sacrifice by Big Sean featuring Migos.
I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. Fuck it, I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. Fuck it, dog, that's how hungry my appetite is.
I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that this song wasn't the biggest from Big Sean this week, especially given how popular Migos are right now. Granted, not especially great song. Metro Boomin gives another bass-heavy, off-kilter harpsichord melody with strings of arranged instrumentation that honestly reminds me of some of Eminem's production. But then Big Sean jumps into his upper range for his fast flow in the first verse, and I just find it really hard to get into it. I don't like that vocal tone. Sure, the flow is impressive, but for as much as Big Sean rants about all the things he sacrificed, it becomes clear that through all the bragging through him and Migos that they're getting their returns in spades. At least Offset's verse keeps up the momentum that Quavo promptly squanders in a drizzled over auto-tuned drone, but Big Sean makes his big case on the outro, how his sacrifices were worth it because he outlasted so many people. Yeah, that can happen when you never challenge anyone and pump out easily digestible radio slurry that'll be forgotten in a couple of years. Ask Chris Brown how he kept his career in the limelight. In the meantime, a few of the flows are alright, but like with most songs associated with Migos right now, not gripping me. Number 68, My Old Man by Zac Brown Band.
Now I finally understand. I have a lot to learn from my old man.
Okay, I was looking forward to this. The Zac Brown Band going back to their country sound after the total mess that was Jekyll and Hyde. I was excited about this, and you know, I'm not going to say I'm underwhelmed, but I can't help but feel that we could have gotten a little bit more here. As you would expect, this is a tribute to Zac Brown's father, primarily acoustic with hints of subtle piano in the background and some gorgeous fiddle on the bridge, the sort of welcome vocal harmonies on the hook that have been the hallmark of the Zac Brown Band's best country material. And maybe it's not fair to compare this to Zac Brown's work with Dave Cobb on Southern Family, or a very similar but stronger song from Blackberry Smoke last year called The Good Life, but I can't help but feel the lyrics play the territory that's a shade too well-trod, especially in recent years in modern country. Look, I am thrilled that Zac Brown has pulled his band back towards real country music, and you can bet I am excited about that next album. I will review it, and this is indeed a very solid and textured song. I don't know though, in comparison with their best, I'm not sure this is the powerhouse comeback that I wanted. Still, great song all the same. Definitely check it out. Number 43, Believer by Imagine Dragons. I have long ago stopped trying to predict where Imagine Dragons would go next in their career, so when I heard they had their big smash single to drive their upcoming album, well, Alex the Kid wasn't anywhere near it, so I had some real hopes it might actually have some real color, that the band might recapture some of the rock spark that guttered out on Smoke and Mirrors. What we got instead? Okay, did someone decide to put Dan Reynolds into AWOL Nation? Because that's the vibe I started to get from the jerky flow, blocks of bass and kick drums against the sparse acoustics, and the oddly high breathy howls that we get on the hooks as the guitars try and fail to have any sort of real riff. Granted, all this is paired with lyrics where Dan Reynolds is spitting against anyone who would seek to define his group or criticize them, ultimately a message that they've gone through the pain that's ultimately made them a believer in their current path. And while I will actually give points that Reynolds is actually spitting on the pre-chorus, the rhymes are pretty clear, they flow pretty well. I will raise questions about this direction because it's lacking in melody and feels jerky, and while it isn't saturated in reverb and devoid of personality, it's also the furthest thing from an actual rock song and doesn't tap into the earnest swell that made Imagine Dragons work for me in the first place. Who knows, maybe they got something here, but as it is right now, I'm still only lukewarm on this. At best. And finally, number 22, No Favors by Big Sean featuring Eminem.
Everything lined up for the taking, and what I need from him, no favors. Click too big, break, gotta break it, cause these others low-key with the snake and faking. Everything lined up for the taking, and what I need from him, no favors.
The reason this debuted as high as it did, the controversy. Eminem was back with Big Sean, and he's calling Donald Trump a bitch and threatening to destroy his brand. And yeah, it made for plenty of easy clickbait controversy, until anybody actually listened to the song and realized there wasn't much worth caring about. The fluttery high tone doesn't do much against your standard trap beat, and it's two verses over a pretty drab hook from Big Sean doing another Drake impression. But of course, we have to talk about Eminem's verse. And as I said in the review yesterday, the political commentary would actually have bite if you didn't open up your verses threatening to rape and pee on people before shoving an assortment of household objects up Ann Coulter's ass and then running her over with your cars, and then asserting that you're not going to stop writing verses that are exercises in pointless graphic violence. And again, I can appreciate the violent wordplay, but at some point it starts feeling kind of tired when you realize that Eminem used to make his violent lyrics have weight and social commentary, or at least a sense of humor and continuity, which his delivery here does not help. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I might like Big Sean's verse more. It was on topic, the flows were good, and it didn't feel like cheap controversy bait. Overall, once again, Eminem is proving that he's only really strong on his own albums. And considering I don't see another one of those coming anytime soon, I can't help but feel kind of disappointed. So this is our week, and man, this felt like it went long. Best, easy. My Old Man by Zac Brown Band, but honorable mention? I'm giving it to Now and Later by Sage the Gemini. What can I say? He's getting better, and this song is pretty damn catchy. Worst? Yeah, okay, Big Sean is getting both of these, with Omi getting the worst and Jump Out the Window right behind it. I can't say how much any of this will stick around, but considering we got the Grammys next week, well, whatever it is, expect a lot of it coming. But till then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.